Hi, I'm Aaron Garcia. Welcome to episode 18 of Conversations with Aaron, show where I interview local artists, garner a few recommendations from them, and highlight their works. Today's guest will be Ever So Slightly.
Hello.
All right, welcome, y'all. Thank y'all. It's a pleasure to have y'all on this
Thank
new
you.
edition of Conversations with Aaron. We're on a little hiatus, and yeah, y'all want to go and introduce yourselves to the audience just so we get y'all's names and we can know y'all as individuals. And if so, y'all can look into camera 3 and directly address yourselves.
Hey, I'm Nate Martinez.
Dubois de Selva, but Aurora like Borealis for Ever So Slightly.
I'm Michael Velasquez. I'm playing bass for Ever So Slightly.
Ryan Sword, and I do drums for Ever So Slightly.
Bad. I'm already gonna forget y'all's names again. So I'm just about, hey, so drummer, drummer number 1. All right, well, first thing I want to ask y'all, the first thing I try to ask all the guests is just how are y'all doing?
Great.
Pretty good.
Doing all right? Life
Doing
treating y'all
good,
well?
doing good.
Yes.
All right, bet. All right.
Specifically because now that we're filming this, it's Super Bowl.
Yes,
Super Bowl
it's
Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. It is Christmas today.
It is, yeah, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. The Cowboys are playing the Chiefs. I'm excited for the Cowboys. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll air this in like 2030 when the Cowboys are actually in.
He predicted it.
Hey, next season, LA Chargers.
I don't know.
Lee.
I know. Ooh.
I like Justin Herbert. It's all good.
Yeah. How are you doing?
All right, cool. Well, I mean, let's just talk about Ever So Slightly. Let's start with that name. It's a very interesting name. Y'all want to discuss its origin ever so slightly? Does it mean anything? How'd you come up with that?
So I don't know why, I've always been big into like common phrases, and I thought naming this after a common phrase would be something that like people would say ever so slightly sometime, right? And
Yeah.
My goal was to have people say that phrase just out in the wild and think of my band.
Nice.
But specifically Ever So Slightly, I thought, I felt like it fit my type of music that I write. Before, like, we used to be in a band back in the day,
Ooh.
and I had named that one Defeats the Purpose. So if there's any bands that I'm naming, it's gonna be a common phrase.
You've
most
copyrighted every single phrase. Like,
Yeah.
Well, that's really great. And I mean, so it really sounds like you're kind of into like, I don't know if marketing is the right word, but like kind of, getting your name out there. So in this sort of day and age with social media being like, very prevalent and rampant, do you find that that's sort of like important to be doing, kind of like thinking of a way like, okay, we need to have a name, we need to have a brand that's able to get us more exposure because like maybe the music isn't enough just because like there's so much out there, you know what I'm saying? So does that affect your thought process at all?
It definitely has. Easier said than done to like go out and actually do all the marketing and everything, but it is in my mind. That's one of the reasons why I went out and I found Dubois, because I felt like I needed to differentiate myself as much as possible. So we have a dancer, and not a lot of, especially like around here, like I've never seen an interpretive dancer of any type of sorts.
Definitely a conversation with Aaron first. So, and I love when he said here, I'm gonna have him be like, ding, Denton, Texas. That's really good. And well, so Nate, I've had the kind of pleasure, we kind of knew each other peripherally and whatnot. And I remember speaking with you probably like, I guess over a year ago. And at the time, you didn't have a full band yet and whatnot. So I mean, just getting y'all involved. How did y'all connect with Nate to like fully form Ever So Slightly? I know. You said y'all are in a band together?
Yeah,
right?
so me and Nate have known each other for like over 10 years at this point.
12.
12 years, yeah.
12
Actually,
I said over. But we were already in like a band before, same with Ryan. We were all in like several bands together. So when Nate started his solo project like this, he asked us to play with him, and of course we agreed because, it's fun and we love the guy, so that's pretty much how that came to be.
That's great.
And we're roommates.
And
Oh, that helps
And they
too.
were
Like,
Makes it easy.
if y'all had a fourth roommate who's not in the band, that'd be really awkward.
We do.
I'm gonna cut that out. All right.
Well, they have their own band, so it's okay.
They're fun.
Okay,
It's okay.
there you go.
Okay.
Little known band, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Y'all live with Ozzy. All right, cool. And I know you said like, how did y'all come to be? I believe you already kind of answered this, but
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier. So basically, I was this is a whole new thing for me, like getting into, like, I'm a former kind of like strict theater actor, a little bit of film here and there. And like recently, after moving to DFW, I've only been here like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. And like, I kind of just decided to take a risk by doing like a photo shoot somewhere. And I noticed like a lot of people on set were like in the Denton music scene, whether photographers or performers. And somewhere I slipped in, I like knew how to do mime and dance, or like clown tomfoolery, if you will. I guess like artistic expression on stage. I guess I mentioned it in a blurt, like just kind of like a little like, hi, nice to meet you, this is what I do, blah, blah. So like maybe like a couple of weeks later, I just get like Nate, he's like, hey, like somebody recommended you. I'm looking to do something different. And I don't know, I was like, yeah, sure. So then we just sat down, like literally had one cocktail, and you were like, let's
This
do this.
cocktail's good.
They were so good. The Usual in Fort Worth, great stuff. Anyway,
yeah,
but like, you know, and then we found out we were from the same area code. We definitely have like probably crossed paths back in like high school, whatever. And like, I don't know, it just kind of felt like meant to be.
Yeah.
And then as soon as like, we barely even, like we just had a small kind of maybe hour or so conversation, then we already were starting to come up with the character. Nate came up with the name basically, but what I wanted to do was like not be myself on stage, be like an asset more than like myself on stage. So Aurora is everything I'm not. Her name is Aurora like Borealis. She's everything I'm not. Like outside of this, I'm in all black clothing. My hair is black. I wear eyeliner to the gods, like
Yeah, you could've
all
fooled
that.
me.
So being able to just kind of take myself away and be like, you know, wah.
That's
Nate.
great. Well, speaking of, you know, you mentioned like the idea of being a character and whatnot, and you know, I sort of this image. How much of that was realized, like when y'all formed it? Did it take some time to kind of get to the point where y'all are now? Some trial and error, or how was and was it sort of a collective thing? Was it one person taking the reins? How did that come about?
I kind of had like an overall idea of what I kind of wanted, and I gave Dubois the I guess the skeleton,
Nice.
and she.
It was kind of
That's
like,
dope.
I think we were talking about it at first, kind of like I just gave birth to this bright pink thing. And I just was kind of like, I didn't know who she was. Like, we really kind of treat her like a person, you know, Aurora. And, you know, she doesn't speak much. She's, again, everything I'm not. And, you know, just this kind of lives her own life. And, like, that's kind of how I feel. Because, you know, I don't see myself, like, performing as myself, like, with Nate. I feel like I'm just, you know, the character, I feel like, completely kind of physically embodies his music. And that's what my intention was.
I dig that, and you know, does that extend to y'all at all? Are y'all, when we see on stage, are we sing y'all, or is it a character? Are you like, I'm the spaceman, I'm the cat? Like,
I don't
does
know
that
who
extend
they
to
are
y'all?
when they're on.
I think it's definitely still us, just like maybe a different version of us, maybe more amplified version.
Yeah.
And that's not really specific to Ever So Slightly, just whenever I'm performing in general. And so, you know, like I said before, we've been playing for a long time, so doing this wasn't that much of a like change. You know, we already had that connection of playing together as musicians, so it was pretty easy transition into that.
Nice. And tell me more about y'all's, you know, past experience. I mean, y'all, hella bands y'all said y'all had been a part of. So like, tell me about that. Like, could this have been formed and, you know, been as successful if y'all did it like 5-10 years ago? Like, tell me about
I don't
y'all's
think so.
history and like, you know.
I've never been in a band.
Bet.
I've performed like maybe like musical theater, jazz.
Yeah.
But like, no, this is completely new to me. Also, kind of like going to local shows and stuff is also
Yeah.
very new to me.
If this group of people had been together doing this 5 years ago, it definitely would have not turned out as well as it is now, just because all of our experiences have like, you know, made us ready to
Let us hear.
do this well, you know.
And I-
Everybody knows what they're doing now. You know, if it was 5 years ago, we'd
This
all
is how
be
you play the
so
bass.
lost.
Honestly, like 10 years ago, I didn't even listen to music like this, and like I was strictly like a metal kid, and mostly into just like heavier music. So I don't even think I would have gave this a shot. You know, maybe even 5 years ago. But
Yeah, 5 years ago I wouldn't even been singing. Like
Yeah.
3 years ago probably is when I was like, I want to do this, and that's when I started practicing singing and like more on the drums and more like synth stuff. So like 5 years ago, I definitely would have never done anything like this. Especially it was like 5 years ago, we moved up here.
Mhm.
We as in just me, and then he came in.
Yeah, and 5 years ago, I was an actor in New York City. So, like, I was
Damn.
singing Sondheim, you know, not doing any of this or, like, being in that scene. So, you could not tell me 5 years ago this is where I'd be in a
Yeah.
bright pink wig.
I'm trying to think of, well, 5 years ago, 2019, all right? 2018,
Jeez.
2019.
Yeah, that's when I graduated, and then, like,
COVID,
2020
y'all.
happened.
Vodka show.
But, yeah, but it completely changed my
Sort of like
view
trajectory.
of
or-
just like I was kind of like I can do a lot like more than just like being just an actor. Like
Yeah.
I call myself like a Renaissance man. I just like doing anything that can get me like in front of people and being able to like share my art.
I dig that. And this
Well-
is. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say. I just realized even 5 years ago, I didn't even listen to this type of music that I'm making.
5 years ago, I wasn't even born. I'm a baby. Man, this is a question y'all kind of got me thinking about. It's not really musically related, but, you know, I'm kind of a spiritual person, you know. And
Oh, nice.
someone mentioned, you know, the idea of like feeling like this was meant to be. Just curious, do y'all kind of feel like, I mean, when y'all look at the progress, does it kind of feel like, oh, like when we chase our dreams, good things happen or whatever? Because I like trying to promote like, you know, optimism and positivity and whatnot. And I've noticed for me, like when I take a chance on myself to like, you know, do my passions and whatnot to like kind of, you know, just give myself the chance to be happy, like suddenly it feels like things start like, you know, the law of attraction, right? Suddenly like, you know, I started this show. I've met y'all, I've met other bands and whatnot. And so, I mean, do y'all find that accurate? Like the further y'all go, are y'all getting more encouraged and whatnot? And
I
yeah.
think that's definitely.
I think I asked the question. Kind of ramble.
I get that.
I think
get
there's
that.
definitely some truth to what you said, like giving yourself a chance to be happy. Because if you don't, then there's going to be a 0% chance that you do. But if you're at least trying, then you have a chance to get what you want and be where you are, be where you want to be.
Who you wanna be?
BARBIE.
I mean, the last year of my life was like, I just, you know, personal things have happened where I just felt so beat down, and I was like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. Everything from here is just gonna be up, and it just kept getting like better and better and better because I was trusting myself and my art for the first time in a while, and I like trusting my art expression. I was like, I can do a lot more, and then I really think like it was just like freaky. Like Nate and I just immediately, like, we just completely get each other. We have the same like ideas, I would say.
Same humor.
Same humor.
Thank God.
Like
that goes a long
I
way.
just said like off camera, if we had been stuck in high school together, we would have been separated in class for sure.
Oh.
Like
Everything.
Now you're seated on the same.
yeah.
Yeah, we should fix it.
We're gonna end up getting separated by the end of the interview,
Right.
probably.
No, right?
We're back from break, and then like Nate's not
Yeah,
there.
it's gone.
Bucky took your place.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and again, like I love like the magic of life and just like crazy little happenings. But like, yeah, as soon as we were just like, your phone number is 361. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And I was like, cool. Like same kind of background, same like philosophy towards performing and stuff. So it's been really cool collaborating with this.
Yeah, that's
One
great.
thing that I've learned when it comes to trying to pursue your dreams, specifically in a very like artistic way. Anyone who's going for like acting or music or anything in that realm is to not make any, not to make your goals specifically super concrete. 'Cause if you're trying to do one specific thing, you're so narrow-minded.
Yeah.
You got the horse blinders on. You know what I mean? Like there's other things that are gonna happen that you're like, well, shit, I think I need to do that instead, and then that takes you somewhere else, and that takes you somewhere else.
Being open to opportunities.
Accepting uncertainty.
That too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anything
like,
can happen.
When I moved, the reason I moved up here, because I'm from Victoria, we're both from Victoria. It's like 6 hours south from here.
Every day I learn a new city in Texas. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the only reason I moved up here was with this band that we don't even exist anymore. So it's like there had to have been another reason besides being in that band that brought me here.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know, but
Ever so slightly, you'll find out.
yeah.
It's really great. I kind of want to ask y'all, what does art, what does music mean for y'all? I mean, obviously we're speaking about like, you know, how it's like therapeutic in a way, you know, mentioning, you know, some hardships of getting to this and now feeling fulfilled. And I just want to ask, like, when you make music, is it just to throw down some tasty, you know, bass lines or whatever? Is there more to it? If y'all just legit said, y'all want to be rich and famous, I mean, that's why I want to make music. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
If that
yes,
was our goal, music,
conversations with Aaron is trying to get rich and famous.
if that was our goal, music's the wrong venue to do that.
Acting as well.
Right.
That was my goal. Like maybe when I was like 13 till I was like 18, or I was like, I want to do this so I can be the biggest, whatever. But I don't really need that anymore or want that anymore. I just want to be successful in my own mind. But successful is kind of, the word successful I think is kind of subjective.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So to me, I want to be, I almost said I want to be subjective, which I kind of, anyway.
Yeah.
I want to be successful in my own way, and at this point, like I've been playing music for 18 years, I feel like it's who I am now. So even if nothing ever happens, like fame or whatever, it's who I am. So I'm gonna be doing it in some form of way, you know.
That's beautiful. I really like that. And, you're beautiful, and I really like that.
Oh,
That's great. And so, talking about the music now, I guess firstly, because I don't want to, put labels on music, but I just want to like get a foundation going. How would y'all describe Ever So Slightly's music?
I think
In
indie.
2,000 words or less.
Okay, let's see. I have 1,000 words.
I'll bet.
I would just say indie pop. I don't
Indie
know.
pop. Yeah.
Indie pop. All right, bet.
Yeah,
Well,
there's some like funk disco
Yeah.
influences.
yeah, which I can't wait for the audience to hear later, because yeah, I definitely hear it's some Sly and the Family Stone type beats.
Good dancing music.
I dig. And well, tell me about what you mentioned, like having a metal background and whatnot. And I think that's awesome. Like it's as a filmmaker and musician too, but specifically as a filmmaker, I always kind of turn my head a little awkwardly, as I'm doing right now, when someone's like only focusing on like one genre, like, oh, I'm only gonna make horror movies. For example, that boy Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, he made hella suspenseful movie, but he was like hilarious. Like he had a very morbid sense of humor. So the idea that like you would just limit yourself to one thing, and so
Yeah.
I just want to ask, like, what were some influences, whether it be like specific bands, songs, genres, or even just like general art? Because like me, I'm influenced by books, and it's like I don't write books yet, so it's like, yeah, tell me about that.
I guess
As everybody
for
looks
the- I actually try to not pull too much of any other influence into this project. Nate actually writes all the music, like the drum parts, the guitar parts, everything. He lays it down, and I try to learn it to my best ability and put my own sort of spin on here and there, And I really actually try to take inspiration from him whenever I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking, what do I think Nate would like here? What do I think Nate would want to do here? Type of thing.
Okay, groovy.
You mean in general or like in this? In general.
In general, I mean, I guess specifically for like Ever So Slightly, like your songwriting process, are you like, oh, well, I was a fan of the Bee Gees or something like that, and I'm kind of taking influence for them. Like, how's that?
Well, Young the Giant is probably like my favorite band, and
Nice.
I would say I get influenced a lot by them, but I don't really think our music even really sounds the same. Last Dinosaurs is also one of my favorite bands, and I think you can hear it way more in influential wise in that. But I didn't even really listen to this type of music until like 3-4 years ago, and there was a point where I was like, I think I want to do my own solo project, and then I was too scared for like a whole year, and then I listened to Hippocampus, and that band was the band that made me be like, I think I'm gonna do this specifically. But I did grow up listening to a lot of grunge, like 90s alternative, all that type of shit. Pretty much everything that isn't this is what I grew up listening to.
I think that like goes for all of us, and then we just show up here kind of like in a new color spectrum.
That's freaking great.
Playing dress up.
Hey.
Man, and well, just the four of y'all are musical and artistic and whatnot. And do y'all like family backgrounds musically, or is it kind of unique to y'all? Are y'all the one sort of like the family tree's going one and like that? And
So for me, no, there was no like previous performing background. For some reason, my parents just decided to give birth to an entire
A litter?
sibling, like the whole litter of artists, musicians, performers. My brother performs, my sister also performs, you know, and like I have another brother that, you know, is into music as well. And so it's just like a weird, like, oh, okay, I guess this is what the generation is going to be this time.
Gotcha.
So my siblings are like my coworkers on top of that.
They're like the Jackson 5.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh, that's great. That reminds me, you know, like saying like you're the primary songwriter. I'm imagining you doing the dance moves too. Like, no, it's step, twirl this. You're just,
Hey,
do it again.
he can bust some moves,
Right?
like
I
for
don't doubt
sure.
There's some like, all right, you ready? 5, 6, 7, 8, and then
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And tell me about like, you know, so being in a band and just describe like, you know, collectively how's it been going with like shows? Have y'all performed together and whatnot? And if so, once. Ooh, describe how'd that go?
It went really well, like surprisingly well. You know, it's always nerve-wracking the first performance of any certain project, so we weren't exactly sure how it was going to go. First time playing with a dancer, so that was interesting.
It's the first time me dancing for a band. So like I was like, okay, like this is gonna be a learning experience. Like I have no idea what to expect. Like
this is my first time being a singer,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
like an actual singer, you know, like
Yeah.
a front man on stage. I was so nervous. I took 3 shots
yeah.
before and didn't feel a thing.
Oh.
Same. We were both just like cheers. Then I was like,
Nice. So is it one of those things like, yeah, there are nerves, but then when you're in the actual process, of it, it's just like pure adrenaline, like you're just letting out.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
lead up was very nerve-wracking, but then once we got on stage and started doing the thing, it was cool.
Almost second nature.
Yeah.
I think that's because of how much of a background we have, that even if we're not doing the exact same performance or thing that we're used to, we can take the experience from, like, I've been playing guitar specifically live for like since I was 13, and I think just the fact that I can do that, I was able to translate it enough to being a front man, to where I was still able to do it. I mean, man, I was like, my legs were vibrating.
I bet. It's all. And tell me about just like working, you know, collectively as a unit and whatnot. Just, if y'all don't mind divulging, like what's y'all's like practice schedule? As a rehearsal, like do y'all try to make it frequently? How
Yeah.
is that? And is it always like everybody together at once, or is it maybe like just, you know, the instruments and dance on a different day? How's that work?
Usually we try to practice at least like once a week leading up to it, like maybe a few months before leading up to a show, once a week, and we'll just all get together and run through the songs that we have planned to play. And that's pretty much the usual for all the bands we're in.
Yeah.
We'll just all have the set list and practice it on our own until we get to rehearsal, and then work out, you know, kinks and all the logistics of what's going to happen on stage.
Pretty dope.
I just I kind of brainstorm by myself because I have nothing to do with the music. I'm just interpreting it, and so like it's a lot of like solo work with myself, you know, and it's like a kind of a thing. I think you said you're an actor as well, yeah. And it's I used to always have this thing that my teachers would tell me, and they're like, don't ever like expect the director to tell you every single thing to do.
Yeah.
You come with something to work on. So like I always would choreograph by myself, and then I would just show up, see how I felt with the music when they were playing, and you know it'd feel 10 times better than like, you know, I don't know, live music's amazing, you know.
Definitely.
The music's already great, like getting to listen to it like on my headphones at home and just getting to like throw myself across the room, and then being able to like just finally kind of meet up and getting to like, you know, fully express myself to it. I mean, that was so much fun to do.
Oh, yeah,
It's my second time doing that, and it's such a blast. These guys are just awesome. So
They really are, and yeah, I mean, live music is a completely different beast. And I want to ask, because this music, which I can't wait until we're able to see the performances later, because it's so rhythmic and, you know, groovy, you know, if y'all mind me saying that.
Sure.
When you're making the music, do you have the audience in mind? Like, you know, are you kind of thinking like, okay, we're gonna do this. Oh, well, no, let's do this because at this point I kind of want the audience to feel this way. I want them to fucking at this point or whatever. So
Not necessarily, really. Honestly, well now, because my mindset has changed when it comes to writing a lot. Like from the beginning of my time writing to now, now when I'm writing, I don't think of the audience at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think about, do I feel something?
Nice.
Because if I don't love my own music, how am I going to expect other
Yeah.
people to?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make sure I love it and I can feel the music, like me and the music are like together, you know? And once I do that and I finish the whole song, then after that is when I'll be like, all right, I think specifically here we should do this for the audience, or this, you should move this way or something, or like, oh, I feel like at this little section I need to like do a quick move or like bend this way, or, you know, like at the end is whenever I'll, after I'm done writing the song is when I'll think of the audience, you know.
Got you. I dig that.
For me, I just want people, like, I do have intention with the audience. I want people to like feel or like dance how I feel the songs. Like I'm dancing the way the song made me feel initially. That's how I choreograph. I just kind of freely move around. So like I'm always just like, yeah, like that's how I feel when I'm on stage. I'm like, this is some groovy stuff. Come on, people, let's dance.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really great, man. And I mean, just what's kind of, so you got a band, you finally performed and whatnot. Do y'all have sort of like a set, like, okay, now we're gonna do this. We're gonna go to the studio, or we have more shows. What kind of can we expect in the near/distant future from y'all?
It's not officially official.
Damn, that's a lot of management.
But
Not official.
I'm gonna say it anyway. I don't think I'm supposed to, but I think by the time this comes out, it'll be okay.
Okay.
We're gonna be playing in Denton in March 23rd. This Saturday.
Ooh.
It should be. Well, if it's not, I'm sorry.
You're
But
Yeah.
it should be. And I don't know exactly where. That's why it's not officially yet.
Nice.
It could be at Andy's. It could be at Rubber Gloves. It could be at Harvest House.
Ooh.
But
It could be here.
It could be here.
Here.
Technically, here is going to be our second performance
Yeah.
ever.
Oh.
How did
Got
we
him
do?
on me. Bucky, how'd they do? He just like falls.
Don't.
Great. And actually, something I kind of want to ask, the last couple of questions, and then we'll move on. Denton, Texas, location you're at, has your surrounding influenced you at all? Has being, because Denton, I think we can agree, pretty musically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
and,
a lot
Yeah.
of bands and artists here.
describe that. Like, I know a lot of it probably comes like internally, but your surroundings influence you all. The people you met in Denton, or just Denton itself, or just any other city. Victoria, Texas, like anything like that.
Well, back home in Victoria, there's not really a music scene, or there wasn't whenever we were there. They're slowly starting to get a music scene. They're like really behind.
Are you gesturing towards me as well, or?
Oh, I was pointing back.
Oh,
there.
okay. I was like, I'm from Corpus Christi. We got Selena Quintanilla.
That's
Oh.
true.
R.I.P. my bro.
But in terms of
R.I.P.
here, I have been influenced a little bit by certain bands that I've seen here. In terms of musically, if I'm seeing a band for the first time, I kind of don't just watch them as a viewer. I kind of analyze them a little bit, because I just want to see what they're doing. Every band, every person is different. I want to see what ideas they have, how are they executing their music, like how are each band's individual, like how are each individual members interacting with their own band, because it's super cool to see different things. But after the first time, like if I see them again, I'm in full like just viewer mode. Like I just want to enjoy their set.
Yeah.
But what was the question?
You pretty much like if you're surrounding like being
centering
exclusively Denton, or just area of like if that somehow some way like your day-to-day life living in a certain area, if that like influences you at
I
all.
think this area is
Yeah.
super cool for the fact that there's so many different types of bands, different types of people here.
We've met a
Yeah.
lot of people too.
Oh yeah.
Just
Yeah.
here.
And that's not something we would have really gotten if we'd stayed in our hometown. So moving here just like opened my eyes to how different you can do the same thing pretty much. And it's influenced me in like musical ways, like opening up to new genres. Like now I listen and play a lot of pop punk, which before I never did. And yeah, just seeing that so many people have the same goal and same aspirations that I do is like inspired me to keep going.
Okay, great.
It is also really cool to like, say you go to a show and like you just, like there's been some people where I've only seen them perform. Like I've seen them play like 5 times, and I only know them like that. And then after a while we'll hang out, and it's interesting to get to know each other on just a human level.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that I knew just as musicians for the longest time, and then like being actual friends, we don't even have to talk about music at all.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's cool to see that too.
Yeah. And tell me about, you know, you're talking about like sort of knowing people and whatnot, just ever so slightly. I mean, you know, being in Denton, like, what's the, you know, like a fan base? Like, have y'all seen growth in like the, you know, the amount of attention y'all maybe attract on social media? And are y'all active on social media? I guess I should start with.
I should definitely be way more active,
but everybody could always be a little more. It's all
yeah,
good.
but luckily for me, so when I moved over here 5 years ago, I was in a band. I moved in with a band called Velvet Skyline. We're from Victoria, which they don't exist anymore, but you still check them out. But performing with that band, I got to know a good amount of people, and then I used to be in a band called Matchstick Ghost. They're still around.
Oh. I'm sorry, that sounds familiar. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then I was a live member in Pennyboard for a little while, and then also South State. I played as a live guitarist in that band as well. And so, like, by the time I started this project, I was lucky enough to already know enough people, performers or just people who go out to the shows, and that's kind of how I've built. Yeah, I didn't want to say steal or anything, but like, you know, like
it's all a community. You know, we all support each other. So just being
definitely
in the scene for a while, getting to know everybody is, you know, that's really gives you a good head start on having people that actually listen to your music.
For me, like when it comes to like helping Nate promote ever so slightly, just because I like, you know, I'm kind of new to, you know, the music scene and stuff. Like we were kind of just doing this thing where Aurora would kind of like hack my Instagram account, which is like more like a modeling performing art page, and then I would like, you know, collaborate posts and stuff. So we'd usually like collaborate, and I like for one time I just had my friend, I brought a disposable camera, and we were like, let's just take it and we'll just keep not talking about Aurora. Like just for some reason on Nate's page there's this pink-haired, like anime-esque chick that keeps popping up
Manic
and
Pixie
like
Fairy Girl, whatever.
yeah, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, whatever. Like just
Perfect.
keeps like popping up, and like we were doing like kind of weird stuff. Like we were just like doing pictures like this or like doing that. You'll see it on like Hypnotized.
yeah, the single art for
the
Hypnotized.
single
Oh,
art for
yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah.
Which you can see here. Boop. It'll pop up momentarily. Now back. That's really great. And so you said, you know, you mentioned like, oh, I could definitely be doing more social media. Do you kind of, y'all feel that that's sort of, in this day and age at least, kind of integral to like, you know, get out there? You really kind of have to like devote yourself to like, you know, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, fucking LinkedIn, like anything like, and is that intimidating at all?
Yes to both questions. Yes, I feel like it is integral, and yes, it is kind of intimidating,
The
at least
two
to
eyes.
me. Because I've been playing music for 18 years, but I have not been on social media. I don't even think Instagram was a thing. I don't know what was a thing 18 years ago. When I was 10, I think MySpace.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
Yeah,
I don't remember
MySpace, Facebook.
AIM.
Oh yeah.
Damn. This isn't even about that. It is kind of just like, you know, it's 2024. I had some friends who have like kids who are going into kindergarten, and their banner was like, "Welcome class of 2040," and I almost vomited. I was like, "This is disgusting" and whatnot. And, I don't know. I mean, I think we're kind of similar age, or you know, off camera, we're kind of getting to know each other, and it's kind of interesting to see how the world has changed or whatever. And I don't know if y'all want to. What's up?
I was gonna say my 10-year reunion for high school is
Mine's
coming
is-
up.
yeah, mine's
like,
in
in a couple of
April.
months.
Oh my god.
Me like working out or whatever. Like I need. That's really great. Well, I guess, you know, maybe like last thing, and we'll kind of some last question I'll kind of ask, and we'll move on to recommendations. Mention, you know, the amount of change we've seen in like, you know, 5 years, you know, 2-3 years or whatever, just how much can change. And doesn't have to be specific, but you know, me being hopeful and just thinking about the future. If y'all don't do this typically, like, oh, we try to live in the now, we don't try to focus on the future. I get that, I respect it. But if I can ask, just 5 years from now, where would y'all like to be? What would y'all be content with if y'all could see, y'all subs in 5 years? What are y'all kind of loosely, striving to be at? Again, like you said, you never want to be like, this needs to happen. You want to give, opportunities and the sort of unknown a chance or whatever. But yeah, just curious.
Well, sorry, we like to live in the now. No,
I'm not answering that question.
We find
Well-
it really offensive when people.
Right now, I've been having like an on and off relationship with school, like college. We're on again.
Nice.
But I should be graduating with a bachelor's maybe in a year.
That's great, dude.
So hopefully within that time frame, I can have a big boy job. Musically, I would like to still keep doing this.
Nice.
That's the whole reason I started a solo project, because like, I don't know, for me, I felt like I got tired of starting a band and then something happening and the band breaking up or something and having to start over and do it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I'd break up with myself, but I think I can keep doing this. This is the first time musically I feel like I can do a specific project forever.
Nice.
I feel like I can do this until I don't want to do music anymore, and I don't think that's going to happen.
That's great.
I guess like for me, when it comes to Ever So Slightly, I think we were talking about it where it kind of feels like this is kind of collaborative, not necessarily because like you are Ever So Slightly, and so like I was even just like, hey, if Nate at one point is just like, hey, Aurora's just like, I'm kicking her out of the band. I'd be like, sure. Like, I had nothing but the best for you, Nate. It was fun getting to at least be this chapter of Ever So Slightly,
Love that.
For me, I feel pretty good about where I am right now. In like the next 5 years, I think if I could just be doing what I'm doing now, but maybe like slightly bigger, slightly better, that'd be great. Keep going with Ever So Slightly or whatever other musical opportunity comes up. And yeah, not necessarily a concrete goal, but just now, but more,
Yeah, I love it.
I myself in the last like 5 years have hit almost every music goal that I've had since I was 7.
Nice.
And I can only hope to do more in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I love that, man. And well, I'm glad we're kind of officially meeting at this point, because that's how I feel. I feel, I went through my quarterly life crises.
Me too, man.
My boy. Just, went through all that. But yeah, I kind of feel I'm very content now. And yeah, shout out to, I got a media arts degree, right? I've always loved writing, and then, media arts degree. And people for the longest time always told me, like, yo, writing is never going to do you any good. You're never going to get a job. You got a media arts degree, that's not going to get you anything. Well, I recently got a big boy job that's like a little over $50,000 a year, so it's really cool. And now I can do this or whatever I can do that. And it's really good. So I the synergy.
This is
really
fun.
Great.
Yeah,
it is great.
This is so fun.
Oh,
Cool.
Lord have mercy.
Great job on Facelift, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Facelift, little known film. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. You'll see it eventually. I'm fucking done with festivals. I want people to see my works. I hate, yeah, man, Denton, Texas is going to be the new Seattle, Washington, like where Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and
Dude.
Soundgarden came from.
I love grunge.
Oh, Lordy. I need to like dress. All right, cool. Well, thank y'all so much. I think kind of knew y'all, but now I actually feel a lot more familiar with y'all. Thank y'all so much for that. And I think we'll recommend some stuff to the audience now. Are y'all ready for that?
Sure.
All right, bet. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of have it on my phone. I like it. Boy, howdy. Okay. Alrighty, gang. So the way it works is pretty simple. We'll go one at a time. All right. So we'll start with me. 1 and 1, 2, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Cool.
And y'all have a firm grasp. Y'all comfortable? Y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Bet. Hello, audience of Conversations with Aaron. Ever so slightly, and I are now going to be recommending 6 things to y'all. Like always, most of mine are just songs with some life advice, but I actually have a book recommendation because, yes, contrary to popular belief, I actually can read. So the first book I'm going to recommend is The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. Bret Easton Ellis is kind of known for, American Psycho and whatnot, and just the name alone, people probably hear that and like, red flag, or whatever. His writing can, I guess, be controversial and whatnot. But I am a fan of the works I've read from him, which are just The Shards and Lunar Park. But yeah, a great read. It's, maybe might not be for everybody. Probably have to put some trigger warnings. There is, quite a bit of violence in it. Some gratuitousness or whatever with regards to, more mature content. But I really dug it. I'm someone who loves, just like thinking about like, oh, when I was, when I went to this city, I saw this movie and, just all that. And the film is essentially a memoir of him growing up in the 80s as a teenager while like a serial killer is kind of lurking about, but he fills it with such like thorough detail about his surroundings, the music he's listening to, the movies, and I don't know, as someone who's very sentimental and nostalgic, I just ate it up. And yeah, like it's kind of a slow burn, but like, dude, the last 40 or 50 pages like are relentless. It's really hard to put down. Like the ending itself, I mean, I finished this like a couple of months ago, and the ending has stayed with me. It's very haunting, and like, oh, something's good when it traumatizes you or whatever. So just an absolutely great book, The Shards, and shout out to Physical Media. It's a great book or whatever, so definitely check it out. And yeah, that's my first recommendation. Ever so slightly, what's y'all's first?
Okay. First recommendation. I really recommend getting maybe just one other person. You can have as many people as you want, but building a huge fort in your front or in your living room. Ooh. And playing Mario Kart or whatever you want. But just the fact to be a kid again. I recommend being a kid again.
The inner kid and all
yes.
of that.
Find your inner kid.
I dig that. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. That was a great recommendation. What kind of fort do you build? Pillow fort?
So we have like
lots of materials.
Yeah, there's like a huge tarp, and like we've stretched that thing out, like
Use like stools to like drag it over. And
we have chairs, stools upside down, like bungee cords wrapped
Bro,
around.
we need to see a picture of this, man. If you're able to send me a picture of this,
Okay.
it's pretty wild. I would love to like just post it here.
Yeah, we can do that.
Wow.
We can do that.
It's pretty easy at our house. We have lots of chairs.
It's like a Victorian era, like big ass castle. Like y'all built that with.
We're a bit of
I'm
architects.
impressed. I actually don't know what that looks like.
Man, the blueprints for this. Like, all right,
We'll send a how-to video.
Okay, a wiki how.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to build a fort.
All right, cool. Thank y'all so much for that. All right, the next recommendation, the second recommendation I have is going to be a song. When I get married, this is going to be the song that I dance to, whether my wife likes it or not. It is My Love, Mine, All Mine by Mitski. It's such a good song. Oh, my goodness. That one person, like, what? That song's ass. No, I love it. I feel like I've recommended Mitski before. If not, I mean, yeah, Mitski's one of my favorite artists. Shout out to my friend Mari for, back in high school when I met him as a freshman. He was like, you should listen to this song called Francis Forever. I was like, what the fuck is that? Francis Forever. And I was, oh, this is pretty great. And here we are 10 years later. I'm still in love with Mitski. Yeah, My Love, Mine, All Mine. It's very interesting because the songs by Mitski I've gravitated a little more towards are like Your Best American Girl, First Love, Late Spring. These songs that I guess you could say in a way are heavy, like they're, I mean, at least compared to My Love, Mine, All Mine, because My Love, Mine, All Mine is very, have y'all heard this song, by the way?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, man.
Oh, my.
I will, though.
Oh, my God. Copyright.
Yeah, right.
It's so slow. It's, I don't know, it's almost like, I don't want to say jazzy, but it's something you could like imagine like in a lounge, just kind of playing softly or whatever. It's so great. And when I first heard it, like, I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting, but I listened to it again and I was like just completely sucked in by it, and it's so hypnotic. Dare I say I was hypnotized by the song, and it's just phenomenal. And I believe it's off of her latest record of which the album of which escapes me, but it'll pop up here. But yeah, definitely check this song out. It's beautiful, and Mitski's lyricism I don't think has ever been better. And yeah, My Love, Mine, All Mine by Mitski. That's my second recommendation. What is yours?
Right.
I'm a big comedy fan, and despite despite the whatever's you have with Netflix, I think you should leave on Netflix.
Oh.
It is the best comedy show, sketch comedy. It's great. If you like SNL, you are absolutely gonna love. I think you should leave.
Describe more. Is that the 3?
It's Tim Robinson.
Tim Robbins. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Forget what I said.
It's
Yeah, never
it's like
mind,
skit
don't watch it.
comedy. It's like
Skit-
it's just a
okay.
bunch of sketches.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
outrageous, crazy scenarios.
It's
Yeah.
like super dry humor for sure.
I do.
It's kind of like Key and Peele in terms of how the episodes,
Oh, okay.
episodically, there's different skits in each episode.
Oh, I dig that. All right, check that out, y'all. That's pretty great. It's all good, man. People have a problem with Netflix. They have a problem with me. I watch no too. But all right, thank y'all so much for that second recommendation. We're now into our third. My third recommendation is going to be probably the heaviest song I've ever recommended. It's pure just death metal. It's "Cruel Summer" by Taylor Swift. As the audience knows, I'm a huge fan of Taylor Swift. Boy, when I tell y'all, like, man, the amount of heat I get when I say that, like, people, like, they find out I'm a musician, they're like, you like top 40 radio? You listen to 106.1 Kiss FM? You like Taylor Swift? And I'm like, I listen to everything, fuck it.
It's
but
popular for a reason, you know.
It's
I'm
like
sick
that's
of
why
it,
it's on
yeah.
the top 40, right?
Exactly.
You can say you can 104 kiss my ass.
Hey, oh, get him. Oh, Tommy, calm down.
She's
But,
the best football player too.
Bro,
Yeah.
In Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, her husband is a pretty good.
Oh,
Shout
we're
out
gonna
Travis
make a
Kelce.
lot of people mad. We're gonna make a lot of people
Boyfriend,
mad.
my bad.
Kansas Swifty Chiefs.
Bro, if they win the Super Bowl, I feel like they're going to set up somewhere.
That's what
It's going to be raining, and I'm like, will you marry me?
That's what I was saying.
I almost don't want to recommend the song now. No, but yeah, Cruel Summer, phenomenal. As the audience knows, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. I have been. I can remember back in like middle school listening to Love Story, like quietly or whatever. I was like, I don't want people to. I love it. But Cruel Summer, it's so strange because it came out like in 2019, I think, like pre-pandemic, but it kind of went under the radar because the pandemic happened in 2020. But hearing it again, it was kind of familiar. I was like, oh, I guess I have heard it, but it was really, it's featured in the Eras Tour, a film that she released, a concert film, which, yes, I saw in the biggest theater imaginable, because of course I did. And I believe she opens with this song, and just hearing it like in a huge IMAX-esque auditorium, just blasting, and the audience or whatever, 99% of which were like teenage girls, and then there's Aaron. Just like in the back in the trench coat, but it was just phenomenal. Like just hearing that, like, and just seeing the energy that it brought into the audience or whatever, just like dancing. It was just so electrifying, and I'm like, yeah, like I love this, and obviously it helps that the song itself, I personally think is among like her best. So yeah, check out "Cruel Summer" by Taylor Swift. That's my third recommendation. What is y'all's?
Okay.
You want to go?
Yeah.
Sure, you can go.
So mine is top Adam Sandler movies.
We gotta zoom in on this. We gotta zoom in.
Yeah, it's about 6 of them. Not necessarily based on like good
That's Click.
or bad or not. Yeah, it's Click. But just because these are the 6 movies to get basically the gist of who Adam Sandler is.
There you go.
And yeah, so 8 Crazy Nights,
Okay,
Deep one.
Grown Ups 2,
nice.
Click,
Of course.
I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry,
Okay.
Jack and Jill, and then this one's actually amazing, Uncut Gems.
Uncut
Like
Gems,
that
okay.
one I actually will just recommend as just a really
a
good
film.
movie. That movie tortured me.
No Waterboy
All
or
the
Billy
Okay,
Madison
actually,
there?
just kidding. Waterboy. I was dabbling between putting Billy Madison in or not, but then I completely
Billy
forgot
Madison.
about Waterboy. So
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Me and my brother had this speak where we just like, don't look at me like that, Bobby Boucher. Like, we always just like, I love it. Bro, Click this. I remember seeing that in theaters with my dad. And, so it would just be a goofy ass thing. Like, that third act is like heavy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Oh,
care who you
yeah.
are. Like,
The first 2 acts are just like,
it's
it's
like
Adam
Adam
Sandler.
Sandler, yeah.
And then it's just like existentialism. And it's like, and again, like the moral is like about being present, you know,
which,
through everything, whether good or bad. It's
Right.
like, I'm watching an Adam Sandler movie.
Jesus, that final, when,
Yeah.
when his dad is passed, but he keeps replaying,
Yeah.
we're going to take a quick break.
Like I said,
We're gonna come back with all of us with tissues.
Yeah, just like so we
A
just
therapist in the middle.
so we just watched Click again.
Oh, man.
Big mistake.
Linger by Cranberries is in that movie.
Yeah, it's their song, right? Him and
love
Kate
that
Beckinsale.
song. I love that song.
R.I.P. Cranberries lead singer. She passed.
Yeah.
a couple years ago.
Dolores.
Dolores, yeah.
Dolores.
Oh, great. Mhm. Well, thank y'all for that. Thank you. I needed a little cry. I know what I'll cry about tonight. Thank y'all so much for that. I guess we'll be moving on to our fourth recommendation. Mine's going to be another song. It's You Know Me Well by Sharon Van Etten. Another artist which, has been featured many times on this show. I love her music, and You Know Me Well is just a freaking great song. I feel it's one of those that, like, I can kind of remember the first time I heard it, and my life really hasn't been, it's been better because I heard it. It really just had an impact on me. Just the sound of it, the power of it and whatnot. It has like a sort of melancholy, but there's a sort of fierceness about it. And Sharon Van Etten, y'all know her? Do y'all know Sharon Van Etten?
I do not.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell.
Kind of indie, yeah. And my point exactly, she deserves to be a lot more. She's insanely talented. I just in high school, I was kind of vaguely aware of her, but as I've grown older and whatnot, I've discovered more of her music or whatever, and just a phenomenal talent. I really enjoy her work, and I don't know. But then again, maybe her low-keyness kind of adds to it. So maybe she's kind of where she needs to be. But yeah, check out the song; it's phenomenal, and just check out Sharon Van Etten as well. She's awesome. So yeah, that's my fourth recommendation, y'all. What is y'all's?
So mine is, at our house that we all live together in, we like to play a lot of board games. And one of my favorite ones that we play is called Betrayal at the Haunted House on the Hill.
God damn.
It's a bit of a title, yeah, but it's almost an RPG game. It's very cooperative. You're basically these people stranded in this haunted house trying to explore and get out of here. And then eventually each game, somebody will become a traitor and trying to kill the rest of the party. So you're just trying to get out alive, and it's really fun.
You won't know who the traitor is
You won't
until
know.
Y'all,
there's 50 different possible endings.
Damn, bro.
That's crazy.
y'all are so interesting, building forts and playing like role play games about murder.
Those are the only
Yeah.
cool things we do.
Yeah.
Everything else is
That's
really
it.
boring. Yeah.
It's like good thing that we had that recommendation
Yeah.
taken care of. We would have been done after that. Well, thank y'all for that. And yes, I'm pulling up my phone. I want to make sure I get this correct. My next recommendation, my fifth recommendation, is going to be, it's a song, but it's a part of the soundtrack to a film. So I guess I'm kind of recommending both, more so the song than the film, but I love the film too. So matter of fact, it's my favorite movie of 2023. The film is Killers of the Flower Moon, but the track,
Definitely.
the score, I guess the soundtrack, one of the pieces of music featured in it is Osage Oil Boom, and the composer was Robbie Robertson, rest in peace. He was with The Band. I'm pretty sure he was with The Band, which, a little, Martin Scorsese directed The Last Waltz, which featured The Band, and now he was always kind of his composer, and he was able to do this, so great. But did y'all see Killers of the Flower Moon?
I
on my
really
list.
want to,
It's
but
on
I
my
haven't
list.
yet.
Oh,
Haven't had
man.
the time, yeah.
Damn, bro, when Martin Scorsese is my boy. The homeboy's like 80 something years old, but like why I've always loved his stuff is because
Never
As-
misses.
I know I'm saying, and as a filmmaker and as a musician, when I visualize, like a lot of when I listen to music, I'm picturing like scenes, like oh, this song, I'm montage, whatever. And the way Martin Scorsese directs and makes his films kind of match what I'm seeing. Famous example, or most notable example for me, is he has a film called Casino, and in it, "Can You Hear Me Knocking" by the Rolling Stones plays, and every single shot, like I hadn't seen the movie, but I knew the song, and things that I was imagining seeing with the song he did, I was like, oh my god! So I've just always been in love with him, and yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon, a great film, and this particular track, it opens the film. It kind of has a cold open. There aren't any opening credits. It just sort of happens. It's very quiet. But then there's an oil boom, hence the title, Osage Oil Boom. It's, oil like sprouts or whatever. That's like the first true sound that you hear. And then this song swoops in. And, if you see it in the movie theater, unfortunately now you probably have to see it on streaming, but seeing it like in a big ass auditorium, the music blaring, it's so rock and roll, it goes into slow motion. It's like, oh my God, like it makes you realize like, oh no, I'm not watching some like boring period piece. Like I'm watching a fucking rock star or a filmmaker like do his thing, which at this point is staged, like it's second nature to him. And yeah, the whole soundtrack is great, but this particular tune, Osage Oil Boom, is amazing. Again, rest in peace, Robbie Robertson. Hope I'm saying that correctly. He was phenomenal, and him and Martin Scorsese went together like peanut butter and jelly. It was great. What's y'all's fifth?
Did Martin do The Departed?
Yeah.
I love The Departed.
And that was, as of right now, that's the only film he's won a Best Director Oscar for. Yeah. Fun fact.
Fifth?
Yes, fifth recommendation.
Fifth recommendation. I'm going to do a local band. I'm going to recommend everyone listen to New Heroes.
Ooh. Love me some new bands. This is how the show operates. People just Oh, is that
my band.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I love this, how the show functions. I'm like, recommend a local band, and I reach out to them.
Well, I didn't even know who you were until Seth,
Yeah,
Seth, no,
Yeah,
before
yeah, that's how
Seth
we
the
met.
People, when they came on.
Yeah, I remember when we first met. It was at Andy's show. Maybe it was Zeke Forever. Maybe it was Said the
It
People.
was
but I remember.
probably, I don't know. But
Shout
yeah,
out Zeke Forever.
that's how I started watching all your episodes, because of Zeke Forever, Said the People, Lady Winters, and
Some good episodes.
Moonstone.
The season 1 of Conversations with Aaron. All right, cool. Great fifth recommendation. All right, y'all, well, we're on to our sixth and final recommendation. And what is mine? I could do another song. I could do a piece of life advice. I'll save the song for next episode. I'll go ahead and kind of just give life advice or whatever, something I've kind of been through lately. And we kind of, touched on. Embrace change, that's gonna be my final recommendation for this episode. Embrace change and whatnot, and it's hard, but sometimes you just kind of have to let things go. You always kind of want closure in certain situations and whatnot. You always kind of long for a perfect moment to happen that you visualize in your head, and for whatever reason, in actuality, you just can't ever fully realize it, and it hurts, but that's okay. I think that's just kind of how life is and whatnot, but you just got to embrace change. You got to embrace, like, hey, nothing's perfect, but I got to keep moving forward. A quote that I wrote in one of my scripts, me quoting myself, is, always remember to keep your head up, because sometimes, sun shines and have your head up so you can kind of be aware of it. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it. And yeah, just, times are hard or whatever, but just lean, give yourself away to people, kind of lean on people and whatnot, the ones, who love you, family, and, sometimes the ones who love you, the ones who reach out to you, yeah, I can only speak for myself, but sometimes, unfortunately, you're kind of like, I wish I was getting this affection or this love from this one person or these group of people, but you're not, so you kind of feel dejected, but all these other people are, and embrace that. I mean, the older you get, like, you kind of really realize, like, oh, you lose people and whatnot, and sometimes you have to be grateful of the people who are there, and you got to just embrace that and whatnot. And embracing change and all of that will open wonderful doors, whether it be making bands with friends or whatever, or starting your little show back up, and yeah, just embrace change. And life is funny, but just keep on living. Man, that's gonna be a mouthful to put in the 6 I had on you, but I'll have to make that a lot more concise. But yeah, that's my sixth and final recommendation, and ever so slightly, would y'all like to finish this off?
Well said.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, do you know who Joe Gatto is from Impractical Jokers?
Yeah, he's not on the show anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he's doing well. Yeah.
Well, to quote him, he says, "Life sucks, but you have to suck harder."
That's such a Joe thing to say.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna stay on that realm, but I'm also gonna have this just with me, just so you know how serious
Protect
I
me,
am.
Adam.
Try new things, whether it's food, music, movies.
We recommend
and-
listening to these recommendations.
Yeah, just try something new. Go out there. If you want to try a new restaurant, go out there. If you want to make new friends, which is scary, go out there.
Yeah.
If you want to stay up late and you don't normally stay up late, do that. Try it. Whatever.
Go out there.
Go out
You'll
there.
never go to sleep early after that.
Leave your bedroom for once, like, no.
You've never had tiki masala? Go out there.
Go out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
man.
Go out there. That's the advice or the recommendation is go out there
Buy a plant, fall in love, anything.
and go out there.
To add on to that, I guess don't be afraid to do it alone. Like, don't be afraid to go to the restaurant alone. Don't feel like you
Yeah.
need somebody there to experience new things.
Yeah.
Yeah. just be your own
I'm
person.
doing this whenever you'll never catch me at a movie theater or a restaurant by myself.
You probably not.
You should try it.
But I'm gonna try it, and I'm
Try
gonna
it.
take my advice and go out there.
Yeah.
Dude, man, yeah, for the longest time I was like, going to the movie theater by myself, what? But I started doing it. In some instances, I almost prefer, like, when I saw Killers of the Flower, I'm glad I was by myself so I could
Right.
cry. And when I saw The Iron Claw, which I'll eventually recommend, I'll recommend maybe next so I can talk more about it. I was by myself in that theater. I mean, it was packed, but I was, like, sobbing. I was so glad no one was around me. It was such a tragic movie. Thank you. That's a beautiful recommendation. All of y'all's were. And, well, thank you so much for that, y'all. Those are our 6 recommendations. Hope you adhere to some of them. Thank you so much. And we're going to take a quick little break or whatever. But when we come back, we'll be listening to some of Ever So Slightly's music. I can't wait. So stick around for that. And yeah,
Real
stay put. We'll be right back, okay?
Like
All right, nope. I fucked up. Okay. All right, gang, y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this shit.
You gotta show this.
Of course. That's whenever I do my one recommendation of 6.
And we're back. Oh, thank you so much for sticking around. Ever so slightly, thanks for not running away from me and whatnot. It's been awkward. It was just been me and my little buddies. Cool. I think now we're gonna listen to some song and highlight them. Y'all excited for that?
Oh yeah.
All right, dope. Well, so I think the first song we're gonna hear is called "Picnic." All right, dope. Well, before we get the privilege, to see and kind of experience and listen to this, give some background. When did you write this? How long ago? Is it new? Describe it a bit.
Yeah, this is Picnic is the very first full song that I had written. The first song I ever wrote lyrics to. So it took me like 3 weeks of overthinking lyrically to finally just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna let whatever comes out comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the first song that I had written I was like, okay, this is it. It's finally time to be Ever So Slightly,
Nice.
That specific song was I was listening to a lot of Dayglow, and I think there's some of Dayglow got in there,
Yeah.
But yeah, the song is a love song, and I was trying to think of a way to make a love song as different as possible. So really, Picnic is about taking the phrase "I love you to the moon and back" literal. So it's a couple that they love each other so much that they're having a date night. They're having a picnic, and they get in the car and they just drive up and fly up to the moon and have a picnic on the moon.
Like Grease.
Yeah.
I've never seen Grease.
Save yourself. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for that context. And y'all ready to go and perform it now?
Yeah, let's do it.
go.
All
Let's
right,
do it.
here's Ever So Slightly performing "Picnic."
Rushing in to my bloodstream, it's the dopamine it seems. Standing still like the first time that you waved and said your name. Dance with me the rest of the night. Would you like to go for a ride? Let's back up our bed and see how far we can drive. Got in the car and we drove away, holding on until we reached the moon. Then we sit and watch the earth spin around the sun. Rushing in to my bedroom with the walls that have the blue hue. Standing still like you can't find the black jacket that I had in mind. Pause on the record player, saving this dance Thanks for later. Let's back door of our bed and see how far we can drive. Got in the car and then we drove away, holding hands until we reached the moon. Then we sat and watched the earth spin around the sun. Picnic on top of the moon. All I need is to be here with you, eating all of our favorite food. Picnic on top of the moon. Got in the car and then we drove away, holding hands until we reached the moon. Then we sat and watched the earth spin around the sun. Got in the car and then we drove away, holding hands until we reached the moon. Then we sat and watched the earth spin around the sun. Top of the moon. All I need is to be here with you, eating all of our favorite food. Picnic on top of the moon.
Thank you.
God damn, dude, that was some good shit, y'all. Fucking excellent,
job.
excellent
Good job.
work. All right.
I
Good
gotta
job,
like
good job. Good
strip
set,
the
good job,
jacket
good set.
off.
Perfect or whatever. All right, well, thank you so much for that. We got to see the performance, and because the audience is gonna, see the performance, and then obviously they're gonna go to Spotify and check it out too. How pretty is this a song? Is this a song that's hard to perform live at all? Just because like listening to it, I mean, there's so much to it. It's immaculately produced. Shout out to whoever the producer was. And yeah, are there any differences performing it live? Are there any challenges or anything?
So that song was all, production-wise, it was all done by Hunter Shaw.
Shout out Hunter Shaw.
Hunter Shaw. He's in the band Saints Can Lie. But anyway, damn, what did you say?
What did I say? Let's rewind the footage.
He asked if it was difficult to perform
oh.
live or any difficulties that way.
So we've only played live once.
Mhm.
And long story short, there was a hard cutoff, the times weren't right, and we never played Picnic.
First time we played it.
So this is the first time we've ever played Picnic.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't think there's anything that is a little too much or too difficult, at least on my end. I play tambourine in the bridge,
Yeah.
and that's fun for me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's probably the longest song out of this set.
Yeah, it's
but I don't-
yeah.
Literally.
Over
4
about
minutes.
The only
yeah.
like difficulty I would say, like the parts are pretty easy to play, but where the difficulty comes in is just like finding ways to make each section feel different and put expression into like an otherwise simple part.
Mhm.
And that's just yeah, it's been fun to do, fun to try.
Nice. Oh, I'm gonna put this on my resume. That Conversations with Aaron featured the first live performance of Picnic. I love that. And tell me about like the development of the song. Did everything fall into place pretty rapidly? Did it have a lot of growth and whatnot? And when you first kind of came up with the concept, that versus the finished product, was it sort of one-to-one? Was there a lot of changes in the development process?
Luckily, it kind of just, this one, the idea, I mean, a lot of people say this, but it just came to me, you
Yeah,
know.
that's all good.
Except lyrically, specifically lyrically, that took a long time of like listening to the song, because I do like, I write my own demos first on my phone through GarageBand. So I'll be in bed and I would loop it for hours until something would come. And then eventually, actually some great advice I got from Lady Winters
Shout out Lady
that I
Winters.
still use to this day is, when it comes to finding the melodies, just look within the song. Because I was like, I don't know what the melody should be. I don't know where we should be doing it. And she was just like,
She descended from heaven. Nate, all you have to do is
yeah,
look
she
into
popped up right here and was just like, it's already in the song. Just go in there and find it. And I was like, oh, wow. And ever since then, that's how I've been finding the melodies for my own specific songs.
That's really
But in terms of writing everything, I went for I guess like a less is more in terms of the guitars and the bass. Just like a simple structure instrumentally. And I was kind of going for a less is more type of thing overall.
nice.
And I didn't know it was going to be a love song.
That's
It was just like I said, you know, like having the instrumental on the loop for hours every day until something came.
That's great. Well, the idea of less is more. I don't mean this as a knock because I love the lyrics. The lyrics are like so vast and whatnot, and I love it. Tells like a cohesive story and whatnot. I mean, you kind of touched on it at the start. You know, it's going on a date, literally going to the moon and having a picnic and whatnot. And tell me about like the writing process of the lyrics and whatnot. Did it go through changes, or is writing lyrics something that comes easy to you? I know you're describing, you know, the challenges that coming up with the melody kind of presented before, you know, heavenly Lady Winters descended upon you from heaven. But yeah, just because, you know, as a musician, I struggle. When I find lyrics that work, I'm like, oh, these are amazing, but like it takes some doing to get there. And so just talk to me, because again, like these lyrics are like, I really enjoy them because it's like literally a beginning, middle, and end. There's a cohesive story. So yeah, just tell me the challenges and the kind of changes that like, I guess like happen over time.
Yeah, I think it's just because of experience. Like instrumentally, I was able to just do it, and I didn't really get flustered at all. But with the lyrics, I'm also a huge procrastinator, and I found out that it's not just with school; it's with life. So like I was gonna record. I recorded all the instruments, and Hunter Shaw was like, "All right, how about we record vocals in 2 weeks?" And I was like, "Yes, we can do that." And I went home and I was like, "Okay, I need to write lyrics," because I didn't do that. I didn't write any lyrics, and I think that kind of helped, because I kind of need some pressure, something like a deadline.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
that kind of helped me get it out, get the lyrics out. And what first came to me was just the melody. That's kind of how I write. Like I usually start with a rhythm guitar part. I just mess around until I find a rhythm part that I really like, and then I write a lead part, and then after that, it's either drums or bass, depending on whatever. And then I'll add like the background, like little synthy things, synth stuff to like fill out the sound. But lyrics are always last. That's at least so far for me, how it's always been. But I'll usually have the melody for the whole thing. So I'll be like, na 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 na, and then I'll slowly start filling in the lyrics. But I don't really write lyrics from top to bottom, like I guess how writers would. Like you would write some. I don't know how you specifically operate.
I don't know how I write.
But like I don't write from top to bottom and then go back and be like, I need to change this and this and this. Like I'll start with the first verse, and I won't leave until I like it all, and then I'll move to the second verse, and I won't leave until, and then I'll do the bridge, and then the chorus. You know, like I can't do it all like a rough draft and then go back. I kind of have to finish it all.
I dig that. Well, I like your approach to lyricism. It very much reminds me of like Kurt Cobain's approach to it. He was always like, melody's more important than the actual lyrics. You know, there's a famous story, their first album, Bleach. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently like they had all the music done, but the lyrics he wrote like the day before they were in the studio, apparently. Which if you've listened to Bleach, you know, that's not hard to not imagine. But
seeing that I do that, I can totally believe that.
Yeah.
Like our first show, there was like 3 songs that I didn't even have lyrics for either. And I wrote them that week.
I was choreographing to just the feeling. So like so it was like that's why like I feel like when I perform I'm really listening to every single instrument, not just Nate's voice.
Yeah.
Because there was a time where like you were like, I almost have the lyrics finished, and I was like, okay. So there was like one like riff or something, and I just was like that with it instead of like lyrically interpreting.
Forgot about that. I kind of made it hard for all of them. Is like when they were learning, specifically the songs that aren't released yet, they all had to learn the songs without any lyrics out of them or vocals at all.
Gotcha.
So they were just learning straight instrumentals, not knowing what I was even gonna sing until we went to practice. And then like the first couple practices, I was just going la 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 like the whole time with no lyrics. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
It's
It
fine.
gave us it gave me a new opportunity to.
Yeah, it's like
express.
when they made Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Antonio Banderas, like, they're like, oh, we're going to put in the gunshots later. So he's okay, bang, bang, bang. He was like, well, cool. Now I want to kind of, expand it to the three of y'all. I guess we can start with you. So, you hear the song kind of unfinished. What was your initial impression and whatnot, and, the rhythmic dancing that you do, the choreography that you do? Very great, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Is it, I guess, kind of two questions. Is it always the same choreography? And then two, is it something that's very technical, or again, are you just kind of feeling it out, or are you like note by note?
So actually, like, I had a lot of questions on our first performance, like people that came up to me afterwards and were like, did you just like improvise that or stuff? And there were like some, like, we did have like a technical problem where there were certain like dance moves I had been working weeks on choreographing. Like, I'm telling you, just constantly running through it. Even the day that we performed, I was like running through it 3 hours. Because again, I think you and I were pretty nervous about trying this new thing. So yeah, so basically I learned Miser technique when I was an actor in New York City, and the kind of it is really just living under imaginary circumstances and like not going, like, instead of like you read a script, you're not saying the line the same way every single time. It's gonna have a little bit differentiating. So like me, I create like it's the idea of like having to say like, oh, can you pass me the milk? Can you pass me the milk? What, like, next time it could be, oh, could you pass me the milk? Like, and if that's a good analogy to make. So like when it came to the music, I would get the overall idea of the song, and then I would create basically, I would call it a script. That would be my choreography. But I even told Nate here, I was like, I'm really gonna like try something a little bit different this time, or I'm gonna like do it a different way this time. So I basically have a skeleton of the choreography, but how I feel in that moment is gonna be different every time I've done it.
Dang, like that's a great approach.
Like, just for some reason, like, especially with our first performance, one way I was dancing completely changed. I was like, no, I'm gonna do like more like energy. I'm gonna like put a little different spin on this one move, but and I just have like a repertoire. Like, I dance training, but I also love going to the club and dancing. So some of my moves come from there too. So I think that's where people get like question, like, am I like improvising on the spot? I guess, which is great, because I guess that means I just make it look kind of effortless, like not too staged.
Well,
So
that's
it's
great.
because I want to make people in the audience feel like they can dance with me,
Right.
like feel safe enough.
Well, no,
And
that's
some of the moves I choreograph anyways are so repetitive, like I think Hypnotized, which you'll see soon. I like specifically made it easy enough so if somebody wants to like do it with me, they can, if they just see it enough times repetitive.
Dang, I dig
Pass
that.
the milk.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. And then how about y'all? We'll see more of this later. And of course, these performances, it's not like they already happened, right? This is on real time. They haven't performed all the songs yet. We'll see the others, but the rhythm section is like amazing. Good God.
Thank you.
And we'll see more of it, especially like, for the last song, Hypnotized. But yeah, tell me about that. Like, you're so tight and whatnot. How does that happen? Just a bunch of practice? Is it, and the style of music itself?
It's just like we mentioned earlier, we've just been in a bunch of bands together over the past
that
few years
chemistry
that we've
kind of to a T.
known each other.
Specifically me on drums and him on bass,
Yeah.
and like 3 different bands. So we're just kind of like,
We just know each
Right
other
there,
just playing and can lock in with each other pretty well.
Dude, I dig that. And are there, how was that, like, once they had the rhythm down, were there any suggestions? Did y'all make any suggestions to Nate? Like, hey, this is cool, but maybe, for the bridge or the chorus, we could do this. Like, was there any sort of back and forth at all?
Maybe like tiny things, but like Nate had written all the parts already, so I just basically listened to the songs over and over again, learned as close as possible. Obviously, it's not exactly what he wrote. You know, I feel like as long as you get the key parts and then added your own little
Kind of like what
taste
she
to
was
it.
saying.
Yeah.
You have like the skeleton.
It's organic,
Yeah.
like, you know, because it kind of just, you know, new things happen. So,
You
like,
don't want to be a robot. You want
Yeah.
you want to feel it in the moment.
truly
drum
being
machine.
truly
Yeah.
being present and being willing, like, to be open for change. Now,
Yeah.
does that mean creating your own part? Like, I don't know where that wasn't rehearsed. No, but just like,
We're gonna be a ska band. Let's
yeah,
get a
right.
trumpet.
No, but like really just being present is so awesome in performance, and it completely unlocks like layers.
And I think
Like
that's
an
something
onion.
Nate does really well is he trusts us enough to know
Yeah.
that we're gonna play right. He's not like, you have to play exactly what I wrote or anything like that. Like he trusts us to make the part our own as much as we can without changing it.
Absolutely.
That's what I literally told them. I was like, can you guys first learn it exactly kind of how it is, and then step back and make it your own.
Nice. That's a brilliant way to do it. That's kind of, you probably know, like when it comes to like acting, knowing the script or whatever, like just like all
Knowing
the
it by
lines,
rote.
and then you can
Yeah.
kind of, and then you can like bring your own thing to it.
Right.
Which goddamn some actors do not fucking follow, and it's so frustrating. Of course, I'm not speaking from experience. Well, great. So obviously, this song is available on Spotify and whatnot. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it y'all's most played, or okay? And really kind of describe that. Is Picnic done? Like, okay, we made the song. Is that it? Is it ever going to be like re-recorded? Is there going to be a music video? Like, explain sort of like, or describe like the sort of life of it. Is it just, it's already done? Like, okay, we're done with the song, like, you know, touch, or is there more to be had, more to be experienced, more to be lived with the song?
Well, it was 1 year. It turned 1 year old back in October.
Oh, she little baby.
October 23, and Zeke Forever actually did a remix.
Shout out.
So there's a 1 year
It's a
anniversary
vibe.
remix,
Oh, man.
all done by Zeke Forever, and it's super cool. I eventually want to play that version
Yeah.
live, but we haven't even gotten to really play the original version live yet. So I want to be able to do that a few times before we can even go into the remix version.
Yeah.
But
It's so good. Check it out.
yeah,
Check it out, man.
Picnic remix.
Any music video ideas? No?
I want to. At this point, it's already been out for over a year, so I feel like there's no real pressure for a deadline. It's already been over a year, so if I want to do a music video, it can be like, hey, I went back to this old song of mine, my very first song, I'm going to do a music video. But I want to do like an animated thing. Kind of like a very 90s anime type of animation style.
Yeah.
Of just two people get into a car and like they fly up into the moon.
Yeah.
And it's an idea I've had for a little while, and maybe an acoustic version, maybe a different version,
The
maybe in
MTV
the
Unplugged
future.
version.
Yeah, we can do that, or maybe like a hip hop version or something. But I don't think it's with Picnic specifically how it is right now. I think that's done. I think there might be other iterations in the future,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay, I dig that. That's something I always wonder, because like when I record, like you get signed to a label, it's like, what would you ever re-record the songs? I wonder. But I like that or whatever. But yeah, Picnic on its own, phenomenal. I mean, you play it when you listen to it. Like, you know, I listen to it in my car driving, and like, so good is it that it sounds like I could be like on a radio station, and then like immediately after, like, you know, the aforementioned Taylor Swift or something could like play right after. It sounds like the quality is like fucking already, like it's already a banger, you know, and it's really great. So you said Hunter Shaw. Yeah, shout out Homework is mixed it really well. And how long was that, by the way? You know, producing it and like mixing it into the final take that you can see on Spotify.
I recorded the guitar parts and the bass parts totally raw, I guess, naked. I don't know if either of those words were great, but I recorded them.
Raw was plenty. Raw was
I can keep going. No, but I recorded those with him, and he helped me get that out, and then went to Hunter Shaw to do the rest with the drums and the vocals. And he's very strict in terms of the drumming, so I had to make sure, which is a good thing. I need that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need,
definitely.
Like, it's just, like my left hand, I had to flip the drumstick the other way around, where the thicker end part was here, because he wanted a thicker snare sound. So, and he made me like play super hard, to where like after we were done, like I felt like I worked out, like my whole body was sore. But he, you know, he just wants the best possible out of me.
And it's glad that you have a producer who wants the best out of you. Is going to shortchange you.
Yeah, and I appreciate him for that, and I think that's why that song is as good as it is.
Yeah.
And he also helped me like with the synth parts that I had written. He kind of beefed them up. So all the little synth, airy sounding things is written by me but beefed up by him.
Nice. It was one of those things you're like, here you go, and he's like, that's good, but how about? And you're like, oh my
Exactly.
God.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Okay, cool. Picnic, absolutely phenomenal performance, phenomenal song. Well, I guess before we go on to the next one, any closing comments any of y'all want to make on it?
No, I don't think so.
No, all right. That silence was deafening. Okay, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the next song we're going to perform is a Crook.
Crook.
Yes. Okay. Well, interesting. And if I'm not mistaken, this is yet to be released.
It has not been released yet.
Oh, okay. Well, before we see y'all perform the hell out of it, y'all want to give some context, some information for the audience before they witness it.
Yeah, Crook is a little more, in terms of what it's about, I guess it's a little more angrier. It's a little angry. Because Picnic is fiction. And anybody, that's the thing, is like anyone who listens to it, it can be about them. But Crook is, I believe, the first time I've written a song about somebody else. And who it's about, I'm not gonna say.
The name will pop up. Boop.
But yeah, Crook is about being led on in multiple ways, in a relationship way, like romantic way, in a friendship way, just like in every aspect you can think of being led on. And it's really just about thinking that everything is great and not seeing that you're being played until it's too late.
Damn.
That's what Crook is about. In terms of instrumentally, so I used to work at School of Rock in Frisco. Great place. I had students from age of like 5 to 18, and when I first started, every first lesson I had when I introduced myself to the kid and get to know them, I asked all of them what their favorite band or artist was, and all the little kids, like from 5 to 8, they all said Imagine Dragons was their favorite
Imagination
band.
Dragons and Practical Jokers.
Yeah. And I was very curious, like, that's super interesting. Like, yeah, they're like a top 40 band, but why are all the little kids saying it and none of the older kids? And so I kind of, at that point, I listened to a lot of Imagine Dragons, but not because I wanted to. I wanted to, I was analyzing them of like, what is the appeal to specifically to a younger generation? And I wrote Crook.
Nice.
So Crook is inspired by Imagine Dragons.
You heard it here first, folks. That's all. Yo, they have It's Time. I love It's Time by Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, that's good. They have some really good songs.
Yeah. Okay, well said. And all right, yo, I guess we'll now listen to Crook. Whoop.
From the best part of a book, with the voice and sound just like how blooming flowers look. Didn't think that you'd have me so shook. I wish you hadn't grabbed me like that with a hook. There you go again, wasting my time. How dare you say you don't? There you go again, wasting my time. How dare you say you don't? It turned out that you are just a crook. Did not see the truth, embarrassed how long it took. Didn't come every part of a book, with lies that sound just like how compliments look. There you go again, wasting my time. How dare you say you don't? There you go again, wasting my time. How dare you say you don't? And I think that you should leave yours. I miss you at the door. Oh, I don't know what I'll do. I think that you should leave yours. I time you change, just wanna tell you Thank you very much. I don't think I can trust anyone. Thank you very much. I don't think I can trust anyone. Thank you very much. I don't think I can trust anyone.
Oh my God, that song was amazing. Crook, absolutely phenomenal and whatnot. And you mentioned first time writing something angry, kind of feeling that. And I want to start with y'all. Did y'all feel any difference with this song? Like when, it's presented to y'all, assuming that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's presented to y'all that y'all feel like, damn, maybe this is stanky. Like this, there's some stank to this. Like, did y'all notice, was there any noticeable difference like in this song than others?
So it's weird because like when this song was presented to us, it was in a very rough form. Like basically all we had to go off of was like Nate said earlier, we record stuff in GarageBand. So he just basically gave us a GarageBand file, told us learn this song, and we're like, oh, okay, cool. And so yeah, I guess we haven't really felt the fullness of the song yet because not even we've heard it in full production. We've just played it with each other a few times. So I'm sure we'll get that energy once we actually hear the final product.
Fuck you.
I think I relate to Nate's lyrics really for that song.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a similar situation before where it's like suddenly you're like, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so mad. I feel like, the song gave off betrayal to me. And just like heartbreak, but in like such a bitter way because it's the first stage where you're just angry.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even with, for me, like the beat's different, to me, and that's why like, whereas Aura is usually like a very like happy, bubbly, having so much fun kind of thing, like this song specifically is a lot of like throwing my arms around and like just kind of very like dejected movements and like more rigid.
Nice.
I do think lyrically it might be my best work.
Yeah. I don't want to. That's awesome. Man, all the lyrics I've heard of you all rank as number one to me, so I can do 1, 2, 3. Great stuff. And how about for drums, like any like discernible difference from this song to others?
I'm always angry when I play the drums.
That's my secret. I'm always angry.
That's my secret cat.
Gotta take some pre-workout.
Okay, freaking great. And well, talk to me. Well, there's so many ways I could kind of do this. Well, let's start with the lyrics some more. So, do you have to be angry to write an angry song? Like, do you have to be in the mindset, or is that just something you can kind of like tap into? Like, this is gonna be an angry song, therefore, or is the actual emotion that you're feeling in a given time, is that kind of what you like, the state of mind you need to be in to, get it to that point that you want to be?
I kind of. So for this song, when I wrote it, what had happened had already happened like a year before. So I kind of, and that wasn't even the plan. Like I wrote the instrumental and was like, I have no idea what this is gonna be about. And the first thought popped in my head was that emotion. That song made me feel how I felt a year ago or whatever, and then this happened. So I was kind of like tapping back into that, which sometimes can be dangerous because if you're writing like a really sad song and you have to tap into a really bad time in your life, it could bleed in, kind of like with like actors, like or
Jim
like
Carrey.
So the technique I was taught is not, it's a somewhat form of method acting, but it's rooted in feeling as if. Like it's as if you are going through a new breakup. It's not necessarily recalling. Because it can be dangerous.
You said it was the miser technique, right? Not
Yes.
Stanislavski. Stanislavski, I know that dude's like, you need to feel that you've
Yeah,
actually.
and that was when I was doing this song, because like again, I've made peace with situations that your song touches on, but I know what that feeling feels like. So I just kind of see it as a new experience. Every time I dance to that song, it's me doing, again, like the skeletal structure, but I might feel different. I might be maybe thinking about a different memory or someone else or whatever, and I'm just going to live through organically in those feelings in the moment.
I got you.
But not necessarily delving too much in my past.
I feel you, and that's kind of similar in a way or whatever. Like, for example, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, like, say you have like an ex or something who got you like a sweater, in my case, or whatever, and then like, but it's been years, and so like, if you see the sweater, if you still have it, it's not like you're like going back to those feelings, but it kind of crosses your mind a little bit. It doesn't destroy you, ideally, unless you're me 2 weeks ago. But that's really cool. And I kind of want to ask you, Nate, so this is unreleased. Is this what we're hearing, what we've seen? Is it done? What more needs to be done before this is like released?
So
The public is demanding it. Bucky's like, God damn.
the version that we're gonna hear is pretty much without guitars. So pretty much when you hear it, when it will be released, it's gonna be just like this, but with guitars added onto it. That'll be the only difference, and I'll probably sound better because it'll be produced like in a studio, but
you'll be going
but it's gonna
back.
be alive. It's a live version.
Yeah, and you'll be going back with Hunter for this, or is it a different producer?
Hunter Shaw did Picnic and only Picnic. Pretty much like our schedules never aligned again, and the rest of the songs, pretty much every song that has or will be released that isn't Picnic is Sam Farr. Sam Farr.
Far Out, Steve?
Yes. He was also in Have Near. That was his band, and they sadly aren't together anymore. But he has his own solo project.
Okay.
Slow Down Star. Yeah, but he, great producer too. Like, was able to push me vocally.
Yeah.
When it comes to recording, specifically with vocals, I'm still a little timid.
Gotcha.
Versus being completely comfortable on everything else, and just helping me get into a comfort zone.
Okay, great. And so Crook, just a great thing. And songwriting process, does it ever devolve from what you've established? Music first, kind of lyrics, kind of like
exact same way.
Always the exact same way. So, what was the duration, the sort of time it took for this to get like kind of like where you're content with it?
It took me maybe a couple weeks, maybe. The guitar part was first, which is the one part you're not going to hear yet. But
the irony.
I had these specific guitar chord progressions that I was like, oh, these are kind of cool. And I played that, and I had it on a loop, and just played bass over it until I found the bass part that I liked.
Nice.
And then same thing with the drums. Like I was looking for something different on the drums. Like the drums were the most probably influenced by Imagine Dragons. Newer Imagine Dragons, I guess I should say. And the melody came. Once again, the lyrics were very last, and that took me a little while to like write it out. Just having it on a loop all night, every night until it comes to me.
No, I feel you, man. That's a great way to study too. Like if you're in college or something, that's really great. And how comfortable are y'all performing it and whatnot? Like, is it to a T? Is there still like whether dancing to it, playing it? Is it all sort of succinct already, or is it because it's still kind of new unreleased? Is it like get with it a couple, live with it a little longer?
I think because it's one of the unreleased ones, it's still really loose in what exactly we're doing. There's still a lot of room for growth in it, but as of now, it's not like super solidified. But so we'll see what it ends up becoming. I guess you can say.
I kind of messed myself up because the melody is kind of difficult, so I kind of set myself up. Now, when I'm performing that song, I have to really visualize each note because it's kind of like flowing all over the place.
Damn, Aaron could never. That's awesome. And I guess we can really great on that, and we're gonna have another last song, Hypnotized. But before we go on, is there anything you'd like to add about Crook or whatever that maybe I haven't touched on that maybe you're like, oh no, this secret thing?
I love the snare rolls. There's a snare roll in the second verse and the outro. And that's it.
Do y'all agree that y'all love the stuff? It's fair. It's good.
It's good.
Okay, awesome. Well, Crook, be on the lookout again. I feel so privileged there that Picnic, kind of the first time I performed that. Crook also. Definitely listen to it when it comes out. Is there an ETA or
March 22nd?
March 22nd. All right. question mark possibly. Okay.
Yeah, as of right now, the song should be out March 22nd, and we should be playing a show unofficially official on March 23rd.
There you go. And any promotional type, any like, is there going to be a sort of image, like, you know, photography or anything that sort of ties in with Crook, like to celebrate its release?
Look for Aurora to be maybe on the cover. That's all I'll say.
Maybe it's a certainty at this point. All right, dope. Okay, and I guess I should have asked this for Picnic. Was this associated with Picnic at all, or is this just your own separate?
Yeah,
This beautiful picture that the audience has been like, who's that beautiful person, that beautiful fella?
Yeah, Faith Alvarez,
Shout
Sword, I guess, now. They're married.
Shout out.
And Faith is also penny board. And so, kind of in the same way, like, this was to promote Picnic, but also to promote Ever So Slightly
Nice.
in general. So I guess yes and no.
Okay, dope. Man, well, I'm looking forward. We are all, me and all 5 viewers who watch the show, are going to be looking forward to any promotional material that's associated with Crook. Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for Crook. Badass song, just like Picnic and just like Hypnotized is going to be. And, well, yeah, tell us about this last song that you're going to perform, Hypnotized.
Hypnotized, yeah. Hypnotized is probably my favorite one so far. Very influenced by Last Dinosaurs.
Nice.
Probably the grooviest one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I really focused on wanting to make sure the bass guitar was like the guy in the song.
Man, y'all don't even know we are about to see the fucking bass. Me going to the cameraman, if you don't get this bass solo, consider your career over.
Like historical context, this was like the song that brought era of Aurora into.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because like
Is it significant?
I think, gosh, you were talking about releasing Hypnotized,
Mm-hmm.
and that song, like, as soon as I heard it, because I heard Picnic, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I heard Hypnotized, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I see it, like. You can go on our Spotify, and like we did a very impromptu photo shoot, like first discovering Aurora. Like I remember showing up to your house in a pink wig, and like you'd never seen me look like that before. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And we just played around with pictures. We were posing with each other, and it just became like the image for Hypnotized. I still have those photos up in my apartment. Like I love showing people. I'm like, yeah. That's me and Nate. Like. We had only known each other for like what, a month at that point.
Probably.
Like yeah, brainstorming.
Man,
That's why, like, in terms of associating like songs with colors, like because of this, I think Picnic is purple,
Yeah.
and also because of the cover art of it,
Yeah.
and because of this, Hypnotized is very like pink
Pink, nice.
to me.
I
Yeah.
dig it, man. The day's gonna come sooner rather than later where when people hear Hypnotized, they're not gonna think of System of a Down or Notorious B.I., Biggie Smalls. They're gonna think of Ever So motherfucking Slightly. That's amazing. All right, man. Y'all ready to perform this?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, y'all. Let's check out Hypnotized by Ever So Slightly. Boom.
Spill the drink, well, two, I think, not so sure. Walk into the sink, looking bleak. There's no doubt that I can see. Where could it be? Coming through the back door, falling on the floor. But of course, I can drink some more. Coming through the back door, falling on the floor. But of course, I can drink some more, so I grab another drink, and then another, whoa, whoa, so gone, laid out on the lawn, so I grab another drink, and then another, whoa, whoa, so gone, laid out on the lawn. Found myself hypnotized, not in the right frame of mind, cannot lie. By no surprise, no longer shy, intoxicated late night, coming through the back door, falling on the floor. But of course, I can drink some more. Coming through the back door, falling on the floor. But of course, I can drink some more. My whole world is spinning. 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 So I grab another drink and then another, whoa, so gone laid out on the lawn. So I grab another drink and then another, whoa, so gone laid out on the lawn. So I grab another drink and then another, whoa, so gone past the break of dawn. My whole world is spinning. My whole world is spinning. My whole world is spinning. My whole world is spinning.
Oh my goodness gracious, the Hypnotized. Jesus Christ, that was amazing. And I mean, right audience, clearly we have to start with the bassist or whatever. Good God. Talk to me about that. I mean, I just, it's kind of a, not a personal question, but it's a question for you. Like, have you had like bass solos like that before, like in your other projects, like where there's been like so much devotion to like the bass sound and whatnot?
So not like recently, but like in high school and college, I played in a lot of jazz bands, so there was more of that there.
Explains it. Man, you're so good.
Background, but no, this is like the first time it's really been like a, I guess, bass solo in the song.
Like a focal point.
Yeah, focal point. And that just comes from Nate's also a great bass player. He's played bass for a long time, so he knows how to write some fun stuff. And yeah, I was super excited once I heard the song. I was like, oh, hell yeah, I get to do some fun stuff now.
Well,
So, yeah.
I was going to put emphasis on focal point. I mean, if you saw my choreography, I mean, when I heard the song, like, I was so in love with the bass line. I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do here? Like, should I just like pretend I'm playing a bass guitar too? But then after that, I was like, no, like, you're so killer when you perform it that I just decided to opt out of choreography. So like I was just like, no, I'm just like literally turn around.
Have all the attention.
It's off.
That's because of Flea.
What's up?
Oh, go ahead.
No,
Flea.
Yeah, it was Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I have a Red Hot Chili Peppers tattoo.
Oh, dope.
So
is it the like logo?
Yeah, it's just the classic
the
logo.
red, yeah.
I think the overall reason why, if there's any bass parts that are popping out, or I guess a lot, is because of Flea.
Yeah, nice.
There's like Flea's bass parts are insane.
Insane, yeah. When I was like learning bass, I was like, God damn it, can't you just write a fucking simple bass line that I can learn? Like, it's amazing.
Probably Under the Bridge is the easiest Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Quick aside, shout out to One Hot Minute by Red Hot Chili Peppers. I find that very underrated.
Same. Yeah, I agree.
What's Dave Navarro, I think, was the
Yeah,
guitarist for that.
he was the guitarist for that.
Yeah. I love that. Aeroplane, Shall It Be Thy Name, or Game. Anywho, I went on a tangent, I'm sorry. I just got to give that album a shout out. Okay, so Hypnotized, talk about this. Picnic, love, well, you said you didn't really intend to write a love song, sort of happen. Crook, Angry, Hypnotized.
Oh, yeah.
Hypnotic.
Hypnotized is actually about being hypnotized by alcohol. There was a point where I was drinking a lot, and at this moment, I'm trying to slow that down a lot. I've been doing pretty good.
Hey,
but
good stuff, dude.
yeah,
That's
like
awesome.
Hypnotized is about just not wanting to drink, but somehow being hypnotized by the alcohol to be drinking alcohol. Next thing you know, you're super drunk. Maybe you're passed out outside, which is in the lyrics, or you're stumbling through the door, and you're falling on the floor. Like that's also in the.
Motherfucker spitting. Oh, that's really great, and something. The title of it, obviously, I think it's the second verse, right? Hypnotized and whatnot. And when I guess, Picnic is sort of the same way where we see the word picnic come up kind of later in the song. And when it comes to titling your songs, you kind of know what the title is going to be, or did you write Hypnotized and you kind of just picked out like, oh, it's this?
Yeah, like that. I like the shorter the better for song titles. It's easier to remember.
Nice.
And the picnic was originally going to be around the sun
Mm-hmm.
because it was a picnic people were having and they were just around the sun, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was like, I kind of want to have a shorter title. Maybe it'll be more catchy and maybe a little more misleading. You won't know really what it's about until you actually listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, you just hear picnic. I don't think you would expect that people are having a picnic on the moon.
Yeah.
Or like Hypnotized. I don't think you would expect to be hypnotized by alcohol until you listen to the song.
Yeah, and well, because the really great thing about not just Hypnotized, but all of them is, you're addressing Hypnotized. It's a very, noteworthy subject to be talking about. Very vulnerable, which I must applaud you. That's really great. To have artists willing to, for lack of a better word, kind of like expose themselves or whatever. Be comfortable with that. So shout out to you, man. That's amazing. And you listen to the song though, like hear Aaron, myself in the car. I'm like hypnotized, and then it's like talking about a somewhat like dark matter and whatnot, and that contrast is sort of brilliant, I think. And I just want to ask, like, is that hard to do? Like, if it's a darker subject matter or something that's a little more personal, do you kind of, well, again, because the music, presumably you wrote first, and it's upbeat, fair to say? Are you comfortable with me? Yeah, and so having that, like, is there sort of like, oh no, it's upbeat, it can't be about this material, it needs to be about something else? Is that at all prevalent? I guess with any of y'all, but like you writing lyrics, is that ever hard, like a hurdle that you have to like get past?
Not necessarily. I kind of will listen to the instrumental, and whatever it makes me feel, I kind of go from there.
Okay.
And I think it originally started of like, this is very bubbly, this is like, it's about partying and drinking, and then it kind of just segued into this like darker of like underlying, I have a drinking problem type of thing. There wasn't really a thing of like, wait, why am I feeling this way? This song shouldn't be like that because it sounds this way. It shouldn't. Yeah. But there's so many songs out there that are great that sound happy when they really aren't.
Hey,
and I kind of, and I.
That's what your song reminded me of, and like the same thing. That's where Aurora started coming from, like because. When I listened to Hypnotized, I was like, heck yeah, so groovy. And then I realized the lyrics are deep. And I was like, that's kind of how I feel with Aurora. Like, she's very bubbly and very, like 1 minute. And then, like, with Hypnotized, I specifically choreographed it to make it look super fun to dance to. But then, the very end, I fall. And
that revelation.
Yeah.
Oh, Aurora.
Yes, like Borealis.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just struggle to speak in general and whatnot.
No, it's
Aurora is.
I can barely even say it too.
Aurora is hard to say.
Yes.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I chose that too.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch. It's really great and nice. So it's a continuous, like, because I'm, the idea of having a character, there being a character, I think of like the Gorillas, like they have their characters.
Yeah, that's actually
Exactly.
I shared with him the Gorillas documentary because I was trying to explain to him like what I was trying to go for, like when we were developing this character, because I didn't want to be myself, like performing with Nate, because I was already going to be in front of him or like right beside him or something, and it's just like I want to be like an instrument, basically.
Nice. And so you mentioned you heard this song. Well, you said this was the song like when you heard, you're like, oh, like it really kind of like
it really resonated with me as well, because I also had a bit of a drinking problem, and so it's really the reason why it pulled me in so much is because it's like, that's how Hypnotized feels in the moment. It's like so upbeat and happy and stuff, and then this underlying issue is right beneath it. So if you're actually like really listening to the song, you're something like, wow. And that's what completely like pulled me in. I was like,
It's almost like the experience of actually like just getting drunk at a party. Like first you feel great, and then you feel awful. Like what's happening? This is terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to sort of ask again the character. How has from Picnic to now? How has she evolved? Or is there one continuity? Do y'all maintain like a lore and whatnot? Like, oh, this happened during this period, which led to this, or is it sort of like anthology-esque, where each song is sort of like its own little thing?
That's kind of how I go about it. Its own little thing. It kind of reminds me of like, that's how I based Aurora off of, initially a clown, but then I'm so into silent film, like early.
Shout out Buster Keaton, my boy.
Yeah, like, and I'm saying, it's just like, Buster Keaton, he's always someone different in the next films. And it's short, like, 15-minute films and stuff like that. And so like that's kind of how I see Aurora as. Like I also based her off of Barbie. I love Barbie. I collect Barbies. And it's Barbie, but she's an astronaut. She's a scientist. She's a president. She's, all this stuff. And that's kind of my approach with Aurora.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I kind of have we have kind of like funny moments where we joke about her having like a favorite food or a favorite cocktail. Like we even played around with her like
The cereal.
eating like cereal weird or like playing with ducks, but it's just like really just kind of figuring out. She's also silent.
Nice.
Like I try to like cover my costume to kind of just, take away the illusion. But like when she's on stage, like, yeah, I'm mouthing Nate's words, but you will never hear me speak as her on stage. And I like keeping her quiet like that because it's just like a removal of like I don't know, something like, because Nate's the voice,
No, I dig that.
it's his storytelling. All I'm doing is just putting visuals to it.
Nice.
And that's why I opted this. If you see me in real life, hi, what's up? My name's Hua.
What up?
I am always wearing all black, like decked out, like that's very dark, very heavy eyeliner, all this stuff. So I just decided, I was like, why don't I? It's kind of vulnerable for me, but I was like, let me just be someone I am totally not. And in a way, like with Aurora, is the same way how I feel about the song Hypnotized. Like I wanted to create this kind of like bubbly looking character to kind of draw people in, but then be able to tell like Nate's more richer, deeper lyrics in his music.
Yeah, and that's kind of great. One of y'all kind of mentioned, Nate, you mentioned, like once you get to know a band, you're not just like watching performance, you're sort of analyzing each one. That's really, it really speaks to like the synergy that you guys have, that each one is like kind of like serving the song, right? Like, especially with the dancing, like you're not just dancing at like, it's there to serve a purpose, and I really think that's great. How embarrassing. Throws my phone across, but so it's really great. And have y'all performed this live?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
More than once?
Just
This is
Just
this would be our
once.
second time.
second time, yeah.
Man, so what was the reaction to this song? Like, are you cognizant of like the audience and whatnot? Because I mean, if no one was shaking their ass to this song, those people had problems or whatever. This is like just the groove of it. And like, tell me about the audience reaction when y'all did perform it.
I think they moved around the most. I mean, it was our
You got
first
close
show,
around.
and there's a lot of notes. Like I'm very critical too. Like as soon as that show was ended, our show ended, I'm still on the stage, and I'm already like, okay, I need to do this better. I need to do that better. I didn't even think about this. Like I forgot water. I didn't keep track of time. I didn't really. I engaged vocally with the fans, like, hey, how's it going, whatever. But I wasn't really analyzing them and like to see what song gets them moving the most.
Yeah.
I don't think I could.
Yeah, I wasn't.
At least not that first show.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. Like what the audience is doing is kind of the last thing on your mind.
Yeah.
You're just trying to make sure you're playing the
Are they
right stuff.
the
Yeah.
stomp clap thing?
They were interactive when I would interact with them.
Yeah.
I dig it.
But
And this on Spotify, again, going off of that, which you guys are going to check. Surely you guys are going to look at this up on Spotify, and you'll see it has like over 1,000 streams, right? Like,
Hypnotized?
yeah.
No, not
It
quite. Not
Doesn't
quite.
what was it at?
I don't even know. I think it's almost there. Maybe like an 800 or something.
There you go.
I'm not sure.
Shit, that's more
But
than
they can
40
help me
people.
out.
Yeah.
They can help me out.
You guys,
And when was the song
With
released?
You. Hypnotized was
Yeah.
released
sign autograph, official artwork from Aurora.
the summer of 2023.
2020. Little under a year ago.
July?
Sometime around there.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. 2023.
It was the summer.
It was the summer of
It
2023.
was like an eventful summer.
Okay, great. And just what was your reaction like upon like finally hearing it? Like, you mentioned being very kind of critical and whatnot, but like, and I assume you had like that final where you're like, oh, it's done, and like, is it a gratifying thing? Are you happy when you're finished with something, or is it sort of just like a relief, like just to finally be done with something? Describe like, I guess for all of y'all really, but like you, like your emotion, like being done with the song, finally like finishing it, specifically with Hypnotized.
Yeah, once we finally found the guitar tones and we had everything mixed the right way, it feels like an accomplishment. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's like I can finally breathe now. It's like, oh, it's done. It's good. Like not that I don't like when I'm in the middle of working on it. Like
Process.
even the most upset or the most flustered or like the most negative feeling I feel when I'm working on music is still better than feeling happier doing nothing, if that makes any sense. Like,
Gotcha.
I'm so into this music thing that even the most frustrating parts of it are still more fun than okay parts of driving to the store or something, you know?
I got
Like, I'd rather be frustrated doing music than
doing
anything.
it.
Living.
Yeah.
Nice. And so with Hypnotized, you know, last couple things to sort of wrap up. Any associated promotional stills, anything that an associated color, right? Would you say
Yeah,
pink?
it's very bright and pinkish.
Yeah.
Actually, we kind of tried doing a social media campaign for the
It's on
release
there.
of the song.
Yeah.
So you'll see, again, we were kind of teasing people. We never even said who she was yet. We were like, I was just some pink-haired chick hanging around Nate. And so we would just collaborate posts. So I'd post something, he'd post something, then we'd post something together. We had like a routine about it.
Yeah.
And it was all the pictures we had taken on an impromptu photo shoot together. And then, so we were basically pretending we were at a party. So it kind of was like a
Polaroid picture.
yeah, it was like a chronological, and you'll see that on Spotify if you look at our.
Oh, you will. They will.
Yeah.
They will.
So yeah, and like that was just something we did.
Nice, dude. And so your growth from, you know, Picnic to this and whatnot are kind of in between. What did you learn from Hypnotized? What did y'all learn from Hypnotized? Like, what from this song is gonna like help y'all moving forward?
I think overall, I've learned to be more comfortable with myself writing because, yeah, I could like write with other people or anything, but this is kind of also an experiment to see what I can do like by myself, and it's more of like being able to trust yourself more, making sure you actually like your own music,
Yeah.
and if you don't, then it's not gonna work.
No, definitely. I really dig that, dude. Well, Hypnotized is a phenomenal song to wrap up today's episode. So we had Picnic, Crook, and Hypnotized. Phenomenal. The Grammy is y'all's. Be wary, Taylor Swift. They're coming for album of the year eventually. It's gonna be great. Well, absolutely phenomenal, y'all. Sort of wrapping up. Any last thoughts on Hypnotized among any of you?
It's a great song. You should go listen
It's
to
a
it.
very, unbiased, of course, but we happen to think it's an amazing song.
I didn't write it. This guy did, so you know.
Yeah, it's all
This is a
Nate.
great song. Shout out Nate.
Thank you.
Hail Nate. Well, cool, dude. Well, I mean, I think that's going to pretty much wrap up this episode of Conversations with Aaron, episode 18. Glad to have you back. Ever so slightly phenomenal. Any closing statements y'all would like to make to the audience at home before we officially sign off?
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
If y'all made it this far, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Share it with your friends.
Nice. Any expecting, you know, notable dates? You mentioned March, you know, the
March 20th.
unofficially official. Anything y'all would like to promote to the audience? You know, sort of have them be in their, you know, mindset to be thinking about.
Yeah, March 22nd, Crook will be out on anywhere you listen to music. March 23rd, we'll be playing in Denton. Don't know where yet, but we'll be in Denton.
Follow the Instagram to find out.
Yeah, follow ever so slightly TX
We'll let you know.
On everything.
on everything.
Everything. LinkedIn, I'm
Everything.
talking about everything.
Craigslist,
Craigslist,
eBay.
LinkedIn,
Goodreads.
MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, awesome. Well, ever so slightly, it was an absolute pleasure. It was great, you know, getting to know y'all, listen to y'all, having the privilege to listen to y'all's music. Thank you so much, and well, I guess that concludes today's episode, y'all. Thank you so much, and check out Ever So Slightly. Whoop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.